Hey, Sam from Pack Hacker, and in this video we are taking a detailed look at the North Face Vault backpack that I've been testing over the course of the last 3 weeks. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing you content to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. All right, let's kick it off with the outside of the bag, and I want to start with the water bottle pocket because it's not very good. It's this mesh material. It's like somewhat stretchy. You've got this like kind of elastine here at the top and mesh at the bottom, and then you can see my water bottle's already kind of coming out. So it's really easy to come in and out of there, which I don't dig. Typically, when I see this on bags, I will, attach. There's like a little D-ring or something up here that I'll attach to the top of this hydro flask to, but I'm just not gonna travel with this inside of here because it just slips out way, way too easily. And I've already banged it on the table just setting this up a million times, so I think I'm gonna spare the team from having to hear that again. We have daisy chain going down here on the bottom. It's functional, it works. It feels a little bit loose, a little sloppy. I like how the daisy chain is handled on even some other North Face bags compared to how it's handled here. And this is just one of the cheaper North Face bags altogether. You're gonna see me reference that a couple times within this review. A little ballistic nylon down at the bottom here, or a ballistic material rather, that's gonna add a little bit more ruggedness, durability down here. Really nice, pretty nice kind of back panel in here though. Like the harness system of this is really comfortable, which I'll get to in a second. And then the last external feature, water bottle pockets both sides, and then up here got this kind of double handle thing that North Face does. Not sure it's really needed a bag of this size, but when you have it open, it's kind of nice to carry it around in a balanced way. And then when you have handles on two sides, you can kind of hold it up like this, and it's a little more balanced than just holding it by one handle, which then tilts it this way and makes it harder to hold up. So it's a more balanced carry while you utilize these two handles together. Harness system is pretty standard. I feel like with most North Face bags, it's just comfortable. So we've got some shoulder straps here, got a little mesh on the back for breathability, and then very nicely and densely padded back panel with North Face's flex vent. I feel like they didn't skimp here quite as much on a couple of the other areas of the bag. We've got these little things here if you want to weave through a carabiner or like a water bladder toggle. This sternum strap was a little bit interesting. I haven't really seen it much on like a rail like this before. It's a little bit loose, but I think it works, it's fine. The buckle here too is like a little bit non-standard. It's a Woojin buckle. It's got this kind of color to it, and you actually pinch the sides like this. Typically you just pinch these, but it's got this like pinch on the receiving end, which I found really interesting. I haven't seen that in a lot of bags. It's like a unique piece of hardware. And then we've got some just standard adjusters here. There's nothing really to hold the excess strap in place, which is a little bit of a bummer. That would have been a nice addition. But overall, it's a comfortable back panel, and I feel like this is one place where the North Face consistently delivers, even in their more budget bags like this one. All right, so here I've got the bag on. It's relatively comfortable, though you can see it sags down quite a bit. Typically, I like my bags to be a little bit higher. But since this is an everyday backpack, I think that's okay. If you're not overloading it too much, I think you're gonna be fine. But yeah, it's just a pretty comfortable bag overall. The shoulder straps feel pretty good. Back panel feels nice. And that sternum strap here, you saw that earlier. You can shift it up and down because there's really not a lot of resistance with the way that it's been designed. But once I had it in place and tightened it up, it just kind of stays there. We have one secondary compartment up here at the front, so it's a horseshoe zipper. It comes about a third of the way down. When you open it up, I like that you have some depth in here, some space. So I've got this packable rain jacket. You can see I've got that here, as well as things inside of the organizational pockets. So you can have a little depth. It doesn't get too crowded in here, just depending on what you put inside. So that's aside for now. But this is pretty much on par with any type of organization that I really dig. We've got two mesh pockets on the outside here. Got two Tom Bin pockets and then some AG1 that I like to travel with. I actually took this bag to New York just on a weekend trip. And I was on a budget airline, so I actually had the sling inside of the main compartment too. I could take that in and out because I only had just one personal item, just keeping it real budget for that flight. Yeah, two like mesh pockets on the side here, and then we've got two like pen pockets in the middle. So pretty decent organization. The only thing is these materials just feel a little bit cheap. So this liner just feels on the cheap end. This mesh feels a little cheap, and I think these zippers are cheap as well, these SBS zippers. I have had SBS zippers break on me the most out of any other zipper brand. These haven't, but just because of that experience, I've always felt a little bit nervous with them, especially when they're on like the main compartment of a bag and I'm traveling with it. You know, it was fine for my trip, but over time, I think they're gonna degrade faster than something like a YKK or even a Zoom. And then I open this up here. I've just got a packable hat in here as well, and then an air tag at the bottom. So I do like that you have this ability, but the like liner, right? Like you can see, I don't know if you can see this, but it's almost like see-through. So I just don't love the feel of it. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm looking at it here and I can actually see this mesh pattern going through there. Maybe it's a trick of the light or something, but if I get it on the light just right. Anyway, so I just feel like this mesh or the liner is just, it feels kind of cheap. And again, it's like for North Face bag, this is on the cheaper end. And for me personally, I'm like, here's what I think. I think you should get a different brand or just spend a little bit more and get like a quality North Face bag. I think this is kind of sitting in this weird area of like, you know, I think you're kind of paying for the brand name with this one. Just if I'm gonna put my opinion out there, your mileage may vary. Obviously, I think it was a great bag in testing, but I'm seeing a lot of areas, a lot of like weak points where the material quality is skimped on a little bit. And I'm just kind of like, there are bags at this price range that offer, you know, better materials, or there's a little bit more expensive North Face bag with like YKK zippers, better fabric that I think is just worth investing in a little bit more. Moving on to the primary compartment, we have two SBS zippers up here at the top. And for me, just like in my Jester review, if you've seen that one, I like to keep them off to the side like this, because when my bag is full for travel and they're up here, you can actually, it doesn't take much once you start going a little open and I'm pulling like ever so gently. But once you get to like a certain point, you can pretty much rip the whole bag open like that. So when you zip these off to the side, there is less of a chance of something like that happening, because you know how zippers can get, especially these loose ones, they can start to like loosen up over time, but it's harder to open it if the zippers are down here on the side. So I would recommend putting the zips down here to the side since they do open quite easily. And then I'm just gonna give you a look inside. I like the organization in here. It was pretty much perfect for my needs on my trip. So you can see I've got my sling on the side here. Again, since I just was able to bring a personal item on a budget airline, I just packed my sling right in there and I was able to use that when I got to my destination. Tech pouch in here, dop kit in here, and then packing cube with clothing down at the bottom. So as far as sizing goes for like a weekend trip, it was like perfect for me. I personally can get away with even a little bit less space, but this felt good. It felt roomy. I also had like another little package in here I was delivering to a friend. So I was really able to pack the thing out, which was great. So take a look inside. Again, it's a little bit like there's no liner at the very bottom, but that's where like the ballistic is for some additional reinforcement. So once it gets through the ballistic nylon, it's, you know, or the ballistic material at the bottom, it's getting through the rest of your bag. Horseshoe zip, this goes about 2/3 of the way down in contrast to that front pocket here. It doesn't go down quite as far as those zips, especially when you open it up like this. And then I've got my MacBook in the back. And this was, I like when you have a separate compartment for a laptop sleeve or like a water bladder. But in this one, in the case of this, it's just built right into the bag. And one of the negatives of that is that if you have your stuff in here, it does get a little bit hard to pull this out. And this is the biggest, you know, MacBook you can get right now, the 16-inch. But it's kind of like you're always playing this game of like, you're having stuff overlap here. I also had a hoodie on the top that fit like perfectly on the top. You know, but you're kind of like wrestling this. You're wrestling this fabric to get this folded down. You're trying to like pull this up while this is full, and it just gets to be a bit weird. And if you're taking this on like a weekend trip or if you're working, it's sometimes nice to like bring this to a coffee shop, bust out your laptop, start doing work right away. But in this case, you're kind of like fussing with it. So I don't love that, but it's not a bad pocket. There's a pretty decent false bottom, and then with it empty too, you can see that the frame sheet in there is like pretty decent. I feel like North Face is always doing a good job with their harness system. So, you know, that's good. And the the frame sheet is kind of a part of that. It's not going to be as like thick as something like a GoRuck bag if you're familiar with that brand, but it's pretty good considering the rest of the materials on here do feel a little bit cheap, feel a little bit skimped out on. So nice little space there for the laptop. And yeah, that's the main compartment. So there you have it, the North Face Vault. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. See you in the next video.